4 more days until the election and 4 more days of intense campaigning in this closely watched race between Senator Ted Cruz and Congressman Colin Allred. Tonight, I go one-on-one with Allred.
Everything is bigger in Texas, but Ted Cruz is too small for Texas.
Congressman Colin Allred is trying to pull off a Texas-sized upset over Senator Ted Cruz. Cruz has attacked Allred on issues like border security.
And Colin Allred pushing that policy.
This emotional campaign ad shows the grieving mother of Jocelyn Nungaray, the 12-year-old Houston girl who was allegedly murdered by 2 undocumented immigrants. Alexis Nungaray blames you in part for her daughter's death. If you could speak to the mother, what would you say to her?
Well, I'm a father of 2 young boys. I just can't imagine how I would feel if anything happened to them at all. And so what I want to say is that I think just taking your grief and turning it into action is admirable. I take issue with what I think Senator Cruz has done with that grief.
He claims Cruz would rather talk about what's wrong on the border instead of fixing it. The senator voted against a $20 billion bipartisan border security bill this year, saying it didn't go far enough.
You don't elect people to point out problems. You elect people to solve the problems. That's what folks like me and others who are trying to do in a bipartisan way, that's what Ted Cruz prevented us from doing. So I don't have a lot of patience for somebody who takes down a bill specifically aimed at addressing this problem for a partisan gain and then uses it to say, well, you haven't done anything to stop this. No, you stopped us from solving this problem.
Allred has also been criticized for his stance on LGBTQ+ rights. The Cruz campaign spending millions pointing out Allred supported the Equality Act in Congress, barring gender discrimination in public places, and saying he supports boys playing against girls in sports. People opposed to the idea argue if you are identified as male at birth, but now transition and identify as female, competing against females is unfair.
Right. I understand.
Whether it's here or at the college level,
I understand.
They say it's unfair.
I understand.
And do you think it's unfair?
Listen, I think that a senator's job is to deal with issues that are facing our entire state, that's facing our entire country, that are real issues, not to make things up, not to find one single example out of 1,000 or 1,000,000 and to spend all your time scaring people about that.
He points out it is already illegal in Texas for transgender girls to play on girls' teams. It was banned by the state legislature in 2021. And then there's the one issue politicians have been talking about for half a century: abortion. You said if elected, you'll restore a woman's right to choose and make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again. Congressman, how are you going to do that? You need the numbers.
Yeah, we're going to.
And you need a Democratic president.
Well, listen, you'll be surprised at what can happen after we beat Ted Cruz in this race, because it's important. Folks all across the country have turned their eyes to the stories that are happening right here in Texas.
Now, I've heard from folks who have said, hey, did you talk to Senator Cruz? Yes, I interviewed Cruz a few weeks ago when he kicked off his statewide bus campaign. Now, you can watch extended interviews with a lot more questions and answers with both Cruz and Allred. That's available on the KHOU 11 Plus app, free to download on most smart TVs.
Early voting for the November election is now over in Texas. The next chance people will have to go to the polls will be Tuesday, Election Day. This is what the line at the City of Jersey Village Civic Center looked like just before polls closed this evening. Of course, if people were in line before 7 o'clock tonight, they would still get to cast their ballots. Millions more have voted across the state. And we will be with you throughout the evening on election night. We'll have special coverage starting at 4 p.m., streaming on the KHOU 11 Plus app. That's available to download for free on Roku, Fire, and Apple TV.